They've organized. And it's called Dream Baby Dream?
Love you, yeah.
You didn't get one, huh? Well, let's see. It's not the first one.
It's in the green dot.
Here, I see it.
Third song.
Third song.
I have a missing green.
I got it.
Yeah, she's looking for
You
one.
got an extra one?
Well, I just pulled it from behind my chair.
Thank you.
Assuming it's in there.
Sorry, I want to look intelligent, it doesn't say anything else. Sorry.
Okay. A wonderful song by the Moody Blues to tell us how it is. Wonderful day, passing my way, knock on my door, even the score with your eyes. Lovely to see you again, my friend. Walk along with me to the next bed. Dark cloud fears blowing away. Now that you're here, you're going to stay. 'Cause it's lovely to see you again, my friend. Walk along with me to the next bed. Tell us what you see in faraway, forgotten lands, where empires have turned back to sand. Wonderful day, passing my way, knock on my door, even the score with your eyes. Lovely to see you again, my friend. Walk along with me to the next bed.
Thank you all for coming, and we have to thank Bruce Wayne and Rika and Elaine and Thomas for coming out today. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Great. And for those of you that are unfamiliar with the New Thought Center for Inspirational Living in Pagosa Springs, Colorado, we accept all peoples, all religions, all genders, all beings that has a beating heart to come through our doors and join us on Sunday mornings at 10:30 a.m. here at the Best Western Hotel. So please join us on YouTube on our Pagosa New Thought Center for Inspirational Living channel. And we want to thank Sam Johnson for making it happen. Thank you so much, Sam. Wow, congratulations. So before we get started, we have a lighting of the flames of the candles, and we're going to have Teresa Howard come up and lead us in that. And I believe Steve and maybe Carla could light the candles of faith for all of us. We will.
Lighting the flames of faith, a call to service. We perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all people and all faiths, all sentient beings, come from the one great universal presence which we call spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. We light the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the candle for all forms of Islam, honoring the path of submission to the will of God as the highest calling. We light the candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of peace and unity. We light the candle for all forms of new thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And as Steve lights the healing candle, please put silently into the light the names of anyone you wish to have experienced the healing flame of God's eternal love. And so it is.
And now we have a reading with Bruce Wayne that is timely. It's an angelic message that we received through the airwaves. Thank you, Bruce.
We get so much correspondence at our house from the world and from beyond the world, but people bring it in. This one's from the message from the angels about what's going on. So, take heart, don't fear. Love is as contagious as your worst virus. Love spreads like wildfire if offered freely. Love lights up the hearts and minds of souls to the point where they simply don't have the right chemistry to let the viruses of biology and mind possess them. And this just isn't semantics, this is absolute core truth. So thank you, angels. Love, dear ones, is the ultimate cure, the ultimate healer, the ultimate immunity. For as you rest in love, you rest in the arms of God. As you abide in love, you abide in truth, well-being, and an energy of peace that is beyond the comprehension. Be a carrier of God's great love. Share love everywhere and anywhere you can. Make it your mission. Be kind when others are hurried. Be peaceful while others are in fear. Show compassion and courtesy to your fellow human beings. Prayer for those in sickness of fear. Pray for those who don't know any better than to be angry or unkind. As you allow this light to flow through you, it cleanses you, uplifts you, and brings you into a higher vibration where you can truly be in the world, but not of it. Right now, there is a huge vibration of fear upon your planet Earth that is going viral. Still, there are just as many souls seeking to spread love. While there is indeed a parasitic vibration that stirs up and feeds off your fears, it has no comparison with the strength and power of love if forgot within its own spirit. Love wins, dear ones, always and forever. Darkness is illusion, mighty though it might seem. We see so much love now emerging upon your earth. There are scientists working around the clock with great passion to find a cure. There are social and health care workers fearlessly tending to those in need. There are government workers selflessly assisting the people who they serve. There are teachers working to implement protocols to their students so they can continue to learn. There are sanitation workers and factory workers' jobs due and previously faded into the background of human life, but now have come to the forefront and are the utmost importance. We see so many of you working to be the light in this darkness, to stand in faith, and to take care of your families with prudence, not fear. Dear ones, love exists everywhere you look. Seek it. See it and be it. For it is with your hearts, your kindness, your prayers, and your light that you become the solution and the cure to all ills. It is this vibration of love that you are immune to the darkness, for you have emerged with the light. God bless you. We love you so very much. The Angels, from Ann Alber's Visions of Heaven. That is, I feel that, but she said it in a way that I feel, as a man, I can't say it, but I feel what she understands, that love is the essence of our core being, that nothing can touch it. It's so powerful. It's the engines of the universe, of life. Trump always talks about the swamp. And I just want to put this last final note in here, that the Buddhists talk about the swamp too, but the Buddhists say the lotus cannot exist without the swamp. The swamp has to come for the lotus flower to bloom, and that's what I love about the nature of life. There's this great unity of everything, but we have to go through it. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Bruce. Of course, he's always the great one to be talking about love, right? Because he's just all about it ever since I met him. Anyway, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Reverend Shayla White Eagle McClure. And so I welcome you once again to this channel on YouTube. My talk today is about walking fearwards in faith and remembering God's love. So, before I start today, I've also received a poem from Diana Holcraft, who is a wonderful person speaking about angels walking the earth out of Arizona. And this came from a friar, and I sent some of you a copy of this on your email. And so it's called Lockdown, a special poem for these times. Yes, there's fear. Yes, there's isolation. Yes, there is panic buying. Yes, there is sickness. Yes, there is even death. But they say that in Wuhan, after so many years of noise, you can hear the birds again. They say that after just a few weeks of quiet, the sky is no longer thick with fumes, but blue and gray and clear. They say that in the streets of Assisi, people are singing to each other across the empty squares, keeping their windows open so that those who are alone may hear the sounds of family around them. They say that a hotel in the west of Ireland is offering free meals and delivery to the households of those who are housebound. Today, a young woman I know is busy spreading flyers with her number through the neighborhood so that the elders may have someone to call on. Today, churches, synagogues, mosques, and temples are preparing to welcome and shelter the homeless, the sick, the weary. All over the world, people are slowing down and reflecting All over the world, people are looking at their neighbors in a new way. All over the world, people are waking up to a new reality, to how big we really are, to how little control we really have, to what really matters, to love. So we pray and we remember that yes, there is fear, but there does not have to be hate. Yes, there's isolation, but there does not have to be loneliness. Yes, there is panic buying, but there does not have to be meanness. Yes, there is sickness, but there does not have to be disease of the soul. Yes, there is even death, but there can always be a rebirth of love. Wake to the choices you make as to how to live now. Today, breathe. Listen behind the factory noises of your panic. The birds are singing again. The sky is clearing. Spring is coming, and we are always encompassed by love. Open the windows of your soul, and though you may not be able to touch across the empty square, sing. That's from Friar Richard Hendrick on March 13th, 2020. And we thank Friar Richard for these kind words. And now before we get into the actual meat of the situation, I'm going to have our wonderful meditation leader, Teresa Howard, come up so that we can settle in and breathe and into the love space. Thank you, Teresa.
Both of those were lovely readings, and it cheers my heart to know of all of the wonderful humanity that's out there that are thinking these thoughts and sharing these thoughts. Very uplifting, so very true, really wonderful. Thank you both for sharing, and all of those who write them. So this is a meditative time of our Sunday service, and so I invite you to all feel yourselves supported by your chairs. Feel the floor supporting your feet. Feel yourself supported by life. And in this moment, we allow ourselves to simply be in the presence of God, in our soul home. Where although we may be busy, this is where we are. So let's release everything that came before this moment. And listen. Listen with your heart. Hear the love, the beauty of the silence. all centered. I'd like to conclude our meditative portion of our service with a rendition of a prayer familiar to us all. It's not titled as to who is responsible for it. I found it as a place mark in a book. But as always, it is appropriate. My beloved Creator, which art in the heaven within my heart, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom of consciousness come. Thy will of love be done here on earth as it is throughout the universe. You give me this day my daily bread. Thank you, God. You forgive me my errors as I forgive those who err against me. You lead me not into the temptation of my unskilled behaviors, but deliver me from my fear and thoughts of separation. For thine is the kingdom of peace, the power of love, and the glorious, radiant, infinite joy that is within me, now and forevermore. Amen.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Teresa. That was awesome and very restful. I don't know how many others of you felt the center of quiet and peace that she presented to us today. That was awesome. Thank you. Walking fearwards. What does that mean? I don't know about you, but it's a direction I've had to take many times in my life. Walking fearwards into the unknown, so that your only resource is your faith. What is faith? It's a belief system. It can be a spiritual belief system, or just a system of trusting that life and that the Creator will always caretake you, help you, always present, that you're never alone. And you truly do know that you are never alone. What is faith again? Is it showing up on every Sunday morning, attending a public place? Is it how you feed yourself? Is it habits? Is it everything you touch reflects you, the true you? Not the mask you wear in public, not what you say, but what you do. So, what we are doing here today is we are expressing our faith, knowing that the world and the globe and all those around the world are walking in faith. Belief systems can be different. Maybe they're walking in fear, some of them. And some of us, unfortunately, feel the fear because we are empaths. We feel everything. We sense things. Some of us in our minds can sense it, that things are just off a bit, not quite right. And when we say in faith to go inward, you want to find your faith, you want to find the truth, to go inward, we're not talking about the mind. We're talking about your heart. The heart doesn't lie. Your mind can trick you, but the heart is your truth. So look deep into your heart and feel your life force. Feel your essence of love and life-giving forces that you have. Some of us have the talent to give of our healing capabilities to others. Others of us have kind words and positive mindset to share. But to find the words coming from your belief system in your mind, your heart has to get activated. They say if you want to have energy move, put the passion and feeling behind it. Words are words until the energy of passion shows up into it. So walking fearwards, this is part of who you are, those of you that I'm looking at right now. Sometimes we have to have stories to help us remind ourselves of what walking fearwards is. In the Bible, there's a great story where Daniel walked into the lion's den. We've heard this story many times. Now, we know lions can hurt or harm or take our lives. He knew that. And they said lion's den, plural, not one lion. And we know that story well. Right now, some of you may feel like you're walking into the lion's den when you walk into a store. And thank God the stores are open. And we're grateful for those people who are walking with courage to do their jobs, to serve us. They are serving us. Now, maybe they have bills to pay and they need their jobs, but they are still serving us with the mass fear epidemic. And by the way, this pandemic is a panic-demic. So those of us that are walking into the lion's den, don't buy into the panic. The empty shelves. It's sort of depressing for me, but I'm sure it is for you too, to see the empty shelves. So in my mind, the stores are flourishing. The people are flourishing. We are healthy. We are well. And there's no doubt in my mind. No doubt. So he walked into the lion's den and he faced his greatest fears, I'm sure, because lions are pretty powerful. Last night, Bruce and I were watching a documentary about the grasslands in the world. And this was amazing to me. We were watching, I'm forgetting the name of the tribe. I want to say kudus, but anyway, they were 3 tall, slender men that were out hunting. And one way they hunt, yes, they may ask the life of another animal to feed their families. But these guys have a method where they steal the kill from the animals, from the lions in particular. 3 of them are tracking the lions and they see them with their meal. And it was, a 4-legged beast that they, pulled down and they were feasting on it. There were about 15 lions. Now, they were carrying bows and arrows with them, but they didn't use them. How did they get that meal from the lions for them to take home to their families? They walked with confidence. 3 men walked up to 15 lions eating their meal. And this was amazing how the lions reacted. They're like, oh, somebody else is walking and approaching us with confidence. Now their hearts might have been racing, but they showed no fear on the outside. And they took their own lives into their hands by doing this. But this is a method and a technique that they had been taught. handed down through the generations. And the lions, one by one, got up, looked at them, and left, walked, without an argument. They didn't roar at them, nothing, but got up and thought, I better get out of here. All 15 were gone. Now, the men had to work quickly to cut off what they wanted from the kill before the lions realized that they really were no threat to them. You see, it was sort of a facade of carrying themselves, walking fearwards, to get what they needed to feed their families. Their desire to feed their families overcame their fear. Some of you may be feeling like that when you're going into the stores, I don't know, to get your supplies for your family. Get in, get out, get home, you know, that type of thing. Walk calmly, greet your neighbors in the store, make eye contact. Now, some of them I can feel that if I'm getting too close to them, they're moving. They want that 6-foot radius. I respect that. So we're very aware of what's surrounding us. The men got the pieces that they needed. They walked and retreated out, and then the lions went back to having their dinner. So isn't that an amazing lion story? I'd say they're walking into the lion's den. That was amazing to me. Anyway, they had the faith that everything would work out. They had the belief system, the technique, the system works. And that is what we believe in Science of Mind, Dr. Ernest Holmes' teachings. There are a lot of thoughts out there, and as Christ taught, thoughts are things. They are real. What you think is what you become. If you think in fear, you will become more fearful, and you're feeding others with it. So be careful how you conduct yourself in these days. Want to be that example of goodness, kindness, and composure, of confidence that all is well, because it is. So, Dr. Ernest Holmes has spoken to us about this, and he has a great YouTube sharing that you might want to get on to and check it out. It's called This Thing Called Life. And it's about real faith and spiritual bank accounts. How is your spiritual bank account? Are you feeding that? Are you living your spiritual belief system? And if not, go into your heart and you will find your spiritual beliefs and who you are. And if you find void of it, reach out to others. There are many here willing to help. Louise Hay is another spiritual leader of goodness and kindness. She's the one known for her positive affirmations. She has 400 affirmations you can download online for free. So look up Louise Hay's affirmations. One of them is life loves me. Is life good to you? Is life not so good to you? So it's how you feel once again, how you believe. They say a child makes up their mind before the age of 5. We've already decided whether life is going to be kind and good to us or whether it's not kind and friendly. Some of us can change it by a thought. Maybe when you were 5, you made an assumption that life is not friendly. And then you learned from others this might not be so. And we can change that. And so you thrive. So, another one that she shares is all is well with my world. So if that helps you, that would be a good one to say, that all is well in your world. And some of us sitting at home, we're saying that to ourselves, and we know that the magic works. And another thing that she shares is, it's only a thought, and a thought can be changed. So know that you have the power within you. You are powerful. You've got the power, we've got the power. We sing that a lot here. So know that you still have the power. Nobody took it. You're the only one that can give it away. Nobody took your power. You still have your power. However, there are Native American prophecies about these very times, and those are coming from the wisdom of their elders and the knowingness. And they did say that there would be chaos. in the streets, they did say people would be challenged. And those of us, our biggest challenge is to walk through there like those three kudus towards the lions. To walk, to emanate the beacon of love and light as Christ did, as Buddha, as many other spiritual leaders before us. So know that we're all part of this, that higher consciousness. We're all connected, and that you can do this. Some of you may have known Carolyn Mace, or you do know of Carolyn Mace's teachings. She's a medical intuitive, and she wrote a couple really super books. One of them is Anatomy of a Spirit. Fabulous book. Another one is Why People Don't Heal. Really great books, great insights. Now, Carolyn didn't set out to be a medical intuitive. What's a medical intuitive? A medical intuitive is a person who has a natural capability of, some of us call, reading another person, seeing what their health issues are. Do they have a lab? Are they a doctor? No. They have a natural ability to see if you have a tumor in a place in your body, if you have emotions that are trapped, that need to be realigned so you can heal your body, or you may have something else that's been bothering you for a long time from childhood. So what happened with Carolyn? Carolyn wanted to be a publisher, and that career didn't work out for her, so she succumbed to becoming the medical intuitive she naturally was. She had doctors calling her for advice for problematic patients, and she shared with them her sights, her gift, what it was. Now she travels the world teaching workshops and teaching people how and why people heal or don't heal. So one of her belief systems and teachings is that if you don't recognize something, it's not part of your world. If you don't recognize it, it doesn't exist. This happened to her. She was on her way, she was in a taxi cab, or a limo driver, one of them, and she was on her way to do a speaking engagement at a hospital, of all places, in a very large city. I want to say it's LA, and you may correct me, and you can look up the archives on Carolyn Mace. And that's spelled M-Y-S-S is her last name, and it's pronounced Mace. Carolyn Mace. And she said she never, since she didn't live in the city necessarily, she didn't know about riots, what a riot was. And they're on their way to the hospital, and obviously the driver didn't know that there was a riot on the route they were taken to the hospital. And the next thing she knows, they're surrounded by people on all sides of their car, and in front of them was a taxi cab that the angry mob grabbed and turned it over on its side, and she saw the driver's terrified, panic-stricken face. Now, she's not comprehending, she's not catching what's going around her. She's never been in that situation before. She said it was as if there was a light, a bubble of protection around their car, and they just maneuvered right through the crowd and got to her destination unharmed, where several of the mobsters were attacking drivers and people and pulling them out of their cars. So that was a huge learning lesson for her. She wanted to pass along to everyone. It wasn't in her DNA. She didn't know. She was innocent of what a riot looked like, what it felt like, and what it was. She'll recognize it next time. But she felt that because it wasn't in her system, in her belief system, then it wasn't even alive. So pretty amazing, pretty amazing. Also, during World War II, Mother Teresa, and I didn't even look this up, this is another great story, she had promised people in a certain region that she would be there to minister them and to talk to them. And war broke out in that region. And her advisor said, there's war going on right there, right now. Your life will be at high risk. She said, I promised these people I would be there. And she walked in total faith without fear to get to her destination and minister to her people. So what do you believe in? What is your faith? Very, very important. The other part is trust. Do you trust? And trust basically comes from the mind as opposed to the heart. It's a mindset. We've been trained, we've been programmed, have we not? Some of us, oh, I don't trust that person. I've already been, stung a few times by that one, or I don't trust this process. Sometimes we have to trust things we don't know about. Sometimes we have to trust that, once again, we are surrounded by angels and beings and things that we cannot explain. God cannot be touched or sensed with our five senses. True? So why do we believe? Because we've all proven it to ourselves over and over again, haven't we, in life? When those things have occurred without explanation, good things. We've seen people transform. So you know that to trust, it's pretty simple to trust. But as Dr. Ernest Holmes said, the biggest trust is a trust in yourself. Can you trust you? Then you can trust others. And I do believe part of trusting yourself is loving yourself. So we're getting to the good stuff now, the love. We're back into the love vibration here. So Ernest Holmes also wrote about love. Love is within us. It cannot be destroyed. It cannot be ignored. To the extent we abandon love, we will feel it has abandoned us. Denying love is our only problem, and embracing it is the only answer. Through the power of love, we can let go of the past history and begin again. Love heals, forgives, and makes whole. So let's love ourselves, let's love one another through this process, and be kind. As the Dalai Lama said, kindness is my religion. This is so close to my own personal heart because I think Bruce has seen me exercise this many times. The optimist, always. I don't know any other way to live. Those of you that are here today are proving that. You don't know any other way to live but to live your truth, to live your belief, live your faith, trust, and love. You're here because you love to be inspired by others of like mind. You're here against maybe protest of your family. You're here because your truth is strong, beating in your heart. So congratulations to all of you for walking fearwards today, not buying into the pandemic, knowing you're strong and you're whole, and you have something to give to others. So with that, I would like to say, we're not going to pass the offering basket around, but you can donate in the basket at the back of the room after our service today. They still haven't figured that everyone's touching money. I find this very interesting. You want to spread it through money, touching money. So I'm not getting political here, but guys, come on, really? Those of us that are in the medical fields or holistic fields know if something were that contagious, we wouldn't be spending money. Okay, enough said. So walk fearwards. And now we're going to have some beautiful music from our great musicians who never say die.
Okay, great.
We're gonna sing Make a Better World, and it's in the red packet in the folders. The third song.
Okay, it's not me.
Off we go.
Yeah, we're going through a transformation, so let's talk about it. Big stuff. Yeah, that was a little
Yeah.
trouble. Like Johnny Carson, you know what
Which one is it?
Make a better world. Which packet? Red packet. Red packet. You ready to rock?
Sing along.
The world we know was built on skill, but that alone don't count. Without the sweat from the brow, it wouldn't be worth a dime. We got to live and give, share and care, really put some love in the air. And when your neighbor's down, you gotta pick him up. Nobody should live in despair. Everybody let's sing, sing, sing. Everybody let's sing, sing, sing. We got to all pitch in, do our thing, and make a better world to live in. Society is the priority, 'cause we're all just part of the whole. Now when the people shout, you gotta hear them out. Everybody is a beautiful soul. We got to work together, hand in hand. We really got to do our best.